Let's check in with Kyle Neubeck from the arena. Sixers pick up a much-needed win.
When you have an award-winning journalist calling in, you have to go to
my
him.
God. He will never stop.
He's perfect timing because his visit here from the arena is brought to you right now by Bagels & Co. We just talked about Bagels & Co. Right on time.
I heard it, and it was really disconcerting to hear somebody else talk about our good friends at Bagels & Co. You know, they're my guys. I know there are guys, but they're my guys that I'd love to talk about. So how are we doing tonight, fellas?
Good, man. I was saying at the top, as we talked about so much through the first 30 minutes of the show, even though it was only a 2-game losing streak, Kyle, it seemed like it was 12, just based on the losses that they had and how long ago it seemed like that Knicks 79-73 win was. That, man, they just simply needed one, and they got a big, big monkey off their back by picking up a much-needed win where we know how important any win is at this time for the Sixers.
Yeah, it's because there's just been a ton of existential dread about, this team just isn't good enough and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that they dispelled a lot of the feelings that we or the fans have had lately. I certainly don't think this is going to help the perception of Tobias Harris, that they basically look the same as they did with him. That's maybe an important data point to consider here. In fact, I would say the ball moved a lot better. They had assists on the vast majority of their made shots tonight. It's one of those that we can sit there and say, hey, the Hornets are banged up and not good, and second half of a back-to-back for them. I get it. Like, you would want a better, more convincing performance. I think right now you take every single win that you can get. Buddy Hield, we just talked to after the game, said something to the effect of, look, we just got to get wins right now until Joel gets back. Like, this whole team is going to change. He said, I've been on the other side of it playing against Joel, and he's getting trapped every play and doubled, and you're getting different types of shots. There'll be different types of possessions. And so they're very cognizant of that fact that while these games matter in the sense that they need to pick up wins and, if they can, stay out of play-in territory, what really matters is just winning enough games to buy Joel time, and then once the big guy gets back, that's when it's go time.
You know, even when Mo starts, usually he plays like 16 to 18 minutes. Look, I had to go here first. I'm sorry.
Had to.
Usually he plays about 16 to 18 minutes pretty consistently. Paul Reed plays more. Today it was very different. They played Mo for 28 minutes. Did Nick give any indication why after the game?
No. You would be shocked to learn this. Mo Bamba was not a big piece of conversation after the game because the only thing he really did of note was pick up a technical foul after picking up a stupid foul midway through the fourth quarter in a close game. And I wrote in my recap, I said, look, I already have a low tolerance for this guy. The number one thing that you cannot do as a role player in the fourth quarter of a close game is take a tech. Like, you just can't give points away at the line like that. So, no, I don't know why he played so much. And I mean that in terms of we didn't ask Nick Nurse, and watching the game, I have no idea what he did to justify getting that amount of tick that he got tonight.
Enough.
Yeah, it was unnecessary. I was like, what is he complaining about? That's just the frustration overall. That said, man, we also discussed how Tyrese Maxey, of course, with the 30 points, you needed your lead guy to carry you home, but a little bit different than what we saw on Thursday night against Milwaukee, where he got support from others in that final 5 minutes where the game was going back and forth, from Kelly Oubre, Paul Reed, Buddy Hield also contributing in that when to close it out. It was really good to see others giving him a bit of an assist where he didn't have to. While he did pretty much, he and Kelly Oubre carried the load, he got support from others, specifically in that final 5 minutes.
Yeah, look, I mean, you brought up all the guys that would probably hit on the way to explaining that game, right? Like, I think that's Oubre has been in a good groove lately, had a bad game the other night, but has generally played well. So less surprising from him. He had a really good first half, kind of teetered off a little bit in the third, but strong close, was really the guy that got the most important buckets, I think, down the stretch. Buddy is more of a surprise because part of the reason he was moved to the bench is that he's been cold, and this wasn't even a good outside shooting game for him, right? I think he ended up finishing, 2 for 6, something like that?
Yes.
But because he got a couple to go down, that sent the fear into Charlotte, and all of a sudden they're scrambling on closeouts. I thought he did a good job attacking off the dribble, got one at least in transition off of Nick Batum's steal. And so, look, you got to manufacture points however you can get them. And it's important for him to make some layups and do some stuff off the dribble, because that's been his biggest struggle for him lately as the outside shot. I mean, he's thrown up some just wild shot attempts by the rim. So that was good to see. And I would say one guy you didn't mention that did drive me nuts for periods of this game, I do think it was a classic Kyle Lowry. Couldn't hit anything, shot terribly, can't attack off the dribble, and yet he's got 3 steals, a bunch of assists, got an important assist to Nick Batum on his only made 3 of the second half. So a lot of tie together stuff that I do think will be more useful once Joel's here. But right now, I'm just sitting there like, Kyle, can you please just attempt like one layup, one floater, one runner, because the entire other team understands that you don't want to take those type of shots right now, and they are defending you that way.
I guess, what did you make of Kelly's first half? What do you think drove his strong play there? Because we did have a super chat real time called both you and I out by name on our previous Kelly take, so I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
Everybody loves that. We have praised Kelly plenty when he plays well. Look, I think I saw the super chat. It seems like he's being playful, so it's not like a shout out to real time. Look, the cutting was very good early in this game. The cutting and slashing. And does it help that Charlotte has one big man available essentially right now? Yes, but also with the volume with which Kelly attacks the rim, there will be some games where he doesn't miss 2 or 3 dunks, right? Like, he's a great athlete. He constantly gets to the rim, and law of averages suggests he's going to have games like this. Like, I think one of the misnomers with Oubre from time to time is that his efficiency will be bad, but I've said it many times on the show. I would be happy with the inefficiency just because of the shots he's taking, right? A lot of stuff at the rim, and the outside shooting was bad tonight, but he has cut down a lot of the junk threes that drive me nuts. It's a lot of shots being taken that are just swing. He's open or semi-open, and they're the types of shots that we all sit on the show and advocate for Tobias to take, for Buddy to take, for Lowry to take. And so him missing them, I don't really care about those. So a lot of it is just simply that I said in the recap that I don't remember the movie that it's from. I think it's something with Will Ferrell in it. It talks about act like a goldfish. And I think like you could use that for Ted Lasso. There you go. I don't know why I thought Will Ferrell said that. And maybe kicking and screaming, whatever. I think Oubre, one of his big strengths is like he just doesn't give a shit about what happened the last 1 play, 5 plays, 10 plays, whatever. Yeah. He goes into every single possession with the same mentality. He thinks he can beat a matchup. He thinks he can make a shot, whatever it is. And sometimes that's bad, right? He can string together stretches of play where he's missing shots and he's out of control and he's not passing. But when he's got it going, he's got enough ball handling talent, enough athleticism that he can punish teams. So I do think you need guys with his mentality to win games in the playoffs. Unfortunately, you might also lose games because of a tunnel vision moment or 10 from Kelly in an important game. But the hope would be that you can get more of these, especially with Joel as the focal point and Kelly in a reserve role, instead of what you have now, where you got to live with the volume, and it's not his fault that he's not qualified necessarily to be a top line scorer every night. Like, that's okay. If he can just be what he was tonight in role player form, they will be over the moon about having Kelly Oubre on this team.
And with that, they do have another important game on Monday for this 2-game series before they head out west for 4. Taking this one tonight was really important, and the same potentially on Monday as they host the Miami Heat. 7:30 tip-off from South Philly. Miami's going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. They just snapped a 4-game losing streak by defeating the Detroit Pistons. They're facing the Pistons again on Sunday. Kyle, it's just important that while we talk about, and Buddy Hield even said it, they just need to find a way to put together some wins. An opportunity once again, a decent team against Miami, who they're fighting for seeding right now in the East.
Yeah, so I'm going to get ahead of this now as we head into that matchup. I think they're probably going to have to play a decent amount of Nick Batum at the 5, or at least play small ball, because we know Miami loves to sit in that zone.
Yep.
And you need 1 shooting, 2 guys who can make quick decisions. And I think if you can put Batum in the middle of that zone and spread it out around him, that might be one of your better chances to crack it open and disincentivize Miami from playing it. We're going to see Kyle Lowry against his old team again, so that'll be interesting. And what does Tyrese do? How does he react to the coverage? Because as we've seen, I think it's gotten even more pronounced over the last week or two. Teams are blitzing and hedging against him quite frequently, showing him 2 guys and making the rest of the team play 4-on-3. Nick Nurse did comment a little bit tonight on they're trying to tweak how they play out of those situations a little bit with how they're setting up and where guys are as the screen is coming. So we'll see if that eventually pays dividends. Really, like, as much as we talk about all the minutia and the details from all these games, tracking Tyrese as he responds to this situation as the number 1 guy is the one thing that is like really keeping my attention. And so I want to see him against a Miami team that no matter what seed they go into the playoffs with, they're a team that generally nobody else likes to play. The respect for Spo and Jimmy and all that. So be a good test. It's a very important game for tiebreakers and all that. So as much as they needed this win, they really got to win on Monday.
So there was a tiny bit of a sort of kind of maybe Joel Embiid update before the game. Why don't you fill in the listeners on that?
It was basically, saw a doctor, everything's fine. And that was, correct me if I'm wrong, Derek, but that's the extent of what we got right now. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, we've seen Joel on the bench, including tonight. So
happy birthday.
Good. Yeah, happy birthday to the big fella. And please get well soon so we have some higher quality basketball to talk about. Not to be selfish or anything, but that would be the birthday gift I would like to get from the birthday boy today. So yeah, ultimately we're operating with pretty limited information here, but as long as we're not hearing bad news, and Nick Nurse did say that he was optimistic that Joel was coming back this year. He's still carrying himself and the team as if that's going to happen. Until we hear otherwise, I just am going to assume he is back sometime early April, and we move from there.
Before we let you go, we were having just a brief, we kind of, talking about Maxey, we kind of got off into another thing about Maxey. Just how good of a guy he is, to be a star player, all-star level player, face of this team, and you never know, maybe at some point, multiple all-stars, the face of the NBA a little bit there, that to see him elbow to the face afterwards, 2 tissues or cotton swabs stuffed up his nose, but hamming it up in the camera, having fun with the crowd, just a different dude, man, and to still be able to go out there and do what he does, but putting the points on the board.
Yeah, look, I think I also wrote this in the recap tonight. So I think he's added some, as he didn't need anything to like boost his Q rating in Philadelphia, so to speak, but adding some toughness points certainly never hurts around here, and hamming it up just a little bit afterward and making a face as the camera pans to him, got a big cheer around here. And I think one of the qualities about Tyrese that has endeared him to quite a few people, and not just fans, like people in the media certainly admire his rise as a player, is that he doesn't make excuses, and he tries to play through everything. He tries to adjust as much as he can to how he's being called, how he's being defended, so on and so forth. Like, one of the things I loved tonight, we all complained about how he was officiated in Miami. Double-digit free throws tonight. And part of that is because he set it in his mind, I'm going to play with physicality. There's first one tonight was Brandon Miller. Got him in transition, shoulder right to the chest, moved him off his spot, forced him to take a foul. And so that's the mentality I love to see from Tyrese, like coming off of that tough game with the officials. No excuses, no crying about it, no complaining. Just, what can he control? What can he do to improve the situation? And so, like, if there's future belief for this team with him as one of the core guys, like little things like that are what I would hold on to. Just the constant tinkering and adjusting and responding and adding to his skill set. Like, is he cut out to be the number one guy of this team on a successful winning team right now? No, but you can see how good he is as a number two, and you can see as he's learning how to be a number one, everything that comes with that. And, the Rocky homage never hurts in Philadelphia.
Did you see when they changed it, put his head on on all the guys coming into the stadium after that? And just Maximus. Yeah, they played that another time recently when he was on a heater, and that one is generally a crowd pleaser at Wells Fargo. That's good.
We all silly like the mayor.